All right. Okay, guys. So first up, looking at MoneyGram, that is MGI. So MGI's got a nice little news catalyst. They are partnering with Ripple. So Ripple's kind of one of the more popular cryptocurrencies. So Ripple made an investment in MoneyGram. Wait, say blockchain payments from Ripple. All right, so 30 mil money transfer. That's kind of it's always nice to see a mainstream company partnering with one of these cryptocurrencies or using one of them. So that can be a good thing for the company, right? It shows that they're forward thinking, willing to take risks, and so it looks like the market has rewarded MGI a little bit with regard to that. You could see this thing has been in the trading, waiting for news phase, I like to call this. It just trades sideways, and all the moving averages are all bundled up on a 5-minute chart, probably a daily chart too, right? And not so much. This thing's been in a pretty tight downtrend, but this still has been in a range for the last couple weeks or so. Super oversold, right? And now you got to pop up on news. So the things I like to check are, where are our major moving averages, and just marking out some of these daily moving averages. Here's the 9 down here. You go through and you look. You're like, all right, cool. We're above all the major moving averages. The next thing to do is take a look at the major retracement. So this was pretty much a major test. We came really close to the 200 SMA. So what I like to do, and I might draw this a couple of times until I feel like it's right. Sometimes I go from the tallest wick. Other times I'll go from a clear daily wick horizontal resistance level, and then I'll go down, and typically I'll do the same if I'm going to do it at the top, and I'll try to get a general idea of retracements. So you can see this thing kind of blew past all of these retracement levels, so I'll draw them again. And there we are. And I'll go back. So we had this big earnings gap down. That was kind of the next high level, I would say. Let's see where these wicks at. And I'll know if I drew the retracement right, because it'll just make sense. Let's go right about there. So this will not be 100% retracement, but it does seem to be respecting this $3.89 $4 level. So I'm actually going to leave this here. Look at these as levels. I might dial this in a little bit better, especially with this range right here. Do I want to change that? Let's see, 142. Let's see, hit that low 142, and then yeah, that looks a little bit cleaner. So what we have here is we have kind of a nice ascending triangle pattern. Right, so we got kind of a flat top, and we don't really know yet is, there's a little bit of kind of bull pennant right here, and then there's some price action off of this line. So we've kind of got this angular support. So the way I look at this as an ascending triangle with a flat top, potential flat top breakout today. And that would look something like this. So price action kind of moving like this, and then finding its way out. Ideally, you're buying at these supports off of this angular support, but sometimes it doesn't hold, and you get this kind of broadening triangle, ascending triangle. It might broaden out. That can be a little bit frustrating. But ideally, if this holds right here off a first test, that's the best area to go long. You've only had one test of the bottom side of the triangle, so this looks like a good setup. Again, we're past all the daily moving averages at this point. But on the weekly, we've got some weekly ones, and the next weekly one is, let's see, you got 336. We're above that. You do have a 100 weekly way out here, and you got a 200 weekly way out here, and that's above these extra extensions. So it's possible that we get price action pushing up to these weekly moving averages. If so, this, anything above in this range is clearly a good area to take profit. Let's see if there's any weekly. I also check for weekly angular. I look at these major angular. This thing could be making a massive, or trading in a massive. This would be very fitting for this to trade in a massive descending triangle. I mean, we've kind of already broken immediate angular resistance. This kind of looks like that kind of next zone. Even if we go to that wick, from this wick to that wick, we still have this zone way out here. That's a lot of pasture. It's not going to go straight up to it, but it's nice to have an idea. Your weekly, this weekly chart. So someone just asked me in the trade room. I have a 20-year weekly chart, and I do that because I like to look at major super cycle resistance. I can always zoom in, right, and just check the last 52 weeks. But I'm just trying to find major patterns on a weekly time frame. If the daily has kind of been voided a little bit, the daily's been voided by breaking this angular downtrend, and we're above all these daily moving averages, and it's so you try to figure out what's the next major level of support and resistance. So you kind of got to dance around and check a couple different charts to get a grip on that. So that's MGI. All right, spent a little bit of extra time on that one, but I do like the setup. All right, now BIOC, massive downtrend, similar chart to MGI, where it's at its butt kicked for a long time. It's had these pretty nice weekly spikes. You could see this is a weekly chart again. We had some good weekly volume here. Was able to touch this moving average here, and then we did it again. That same red moving average. We were able to breach it again. I've got my retracements already drawn on this one. Let's see what time frame. I actually have a couple different. We've been heavily charting this one, so I'm going to erase that. And so immediately what I see is just going off of just these wicks. We kind of broke out to the downside on this. You can go through and see all these potential traps. Anytime I see a wick and a pullback, the bulls are respecting something and the bears are strong. So we can already tell this thing could potentially be trading inside. Again, very common for penny stocks. They love to get stuck in these descending triangles. So that's essentially what it looks like here. And we touch this wick again. This is just an hourly chart. If we look at the daily chart, the daily moving averages are kind of bundled up. There's room to go either way. Yesterday it respected the 50, but you got the 950 and the 34. You got the 100 SMA up here. There's potential. It's got the volume too. So let's go to this most recent. I'm just going to go from most recent high to low, and then we'll switch it in an hourly. This is where we're going to get we're going to fine tune these numbers here. All right. 78 cents, and the high was, I hate when it doesn't show me the high. I actually want to go, let's see, does this look right? I really want to know what this high was, so I'm going to go zoom in, and I'm going to take an average of these two right here. That looks like 230. I'm being more particular with this one than compared to the last one because of the because of all these hourly wicks up here. It's just showing this is really strong mechanical resistance at 230, and that's been common actually. 230, I remember being an issue back here. Okay, so now we can zoom in and think about this. So yeah, all right, so I like what I see. Now that we're on a 5-minute chart, we're kind of, these are those hourly wicks. That hourly wick we were looking at was touching this zone. We need to break this angular resistance. We need prints ideally above 115, but more so above 120, just to be able to get up to 128. You can see this is where the bears are hanging out. But the nice thing is that we can target a 50% retracement, which is this bright blue level. This is ideally, if this thing bulls, we could rip up to that level today if the volume continues. But right now, you can already tell it's a little bit dicey. This huge kind of pin bar hourly candle, inverted hammer type candle, and you have this 200 SMA hourly acting as resistance. So it's not a good thing. And then again, if we switch to the daily chart, look, we got the 100 SMA. Literally, we're right at 116. So it's definitely got some problems for it today. We'd have to see some really good hot volume and price action for BIOC to do anything. So we don't want to get too overexcited about that. Let's look at NBEV. Pot stocks have been beat up lately, and they've just kind of put together week after week of losses. So if I show NBEV, right, there's some green weeks, but the majority of pot stocks are pulling back to this weekly 50 SMA, and they're starting to kind of pick up again. You could see big runs happened off that purple weekly 50 SMA that I'm tracing out with my mouse, and it's been really strong support in the past. So we're kind of, I think a lot of pot stock traders are hoping for the same. Excuse me. I hope that mute worked on YouTube. I might have coughed really loud. If I did, I'm sorry. I forgot I'm on YouTube. Yeah, but on YouTube it's delayed, so it's possible I coughed in everyone's ears. All right, so NBEV announced news. They're going to start doing biz in China, Hong Kong, and they have plans to go to 68 or so other countries around the world in the second half of the year. So that's pretty badass. And you got this spike. This 492 level has been like solid as a rock for it trying to get it past this line. It's rejected. I could go back further than this 15-minute 5-day chart, but this has been the deal. So if we can start to bull above there, there's a little range up to the 510 to 520. I've kind of got it marked out with this green bar, but essentially this is a very strong, two very strong levels of resistance. There's not really anything much better than breaking either of those. Then there's a much longer term angular resistance from the hourly or 4-hour chart way out here that we could make contact with. And then of course there's the 50% retracement level, which is at 565. So common theme for me, I'm looking for retracements to up to this level when I start seeing momentum come back in. So we'll see if the bulls start feeling feisty about that. Let's take a look at Snap, Crackle, Pop. And Snap has been crackling and popping off of a pretty nice level. Yeah, if you go back and look at just this horizontal support, what's that at? It's at like 1330s. It's popped back off. It's happened for the last couple weeks, and we are over on Snap the 50% retracement. Hourly is a little overbought, so we could just kind of trade sideways today, but if it wants to, it could still potentially move up to the next fib level, which is up here around 15 bucks that I have. There's also this, looks like I got a line from going much further back. Maybe it's a daily line. I'm trying to see, let's dash this one so I can just find where the heck it is. Okay, so there's some daily, some daily resistance up here, and this was a consolidation zone as well. So yeah, we're gonna watch this dashed line too. You know, the daily's been struggling a little bit. It's been, you know, it closed above the 9 EMA daily. So if the momentum party is going to keep running, this would be a nice little consolidation box that was built out. It would be nice to pop up, test this line up around 1450, 50 or so, and then a move to 15 bucks. So snap traders, I mean, you can long and short this. Looking at the 5-minute chart, we were just looking at the daily and hourly, but we've got clear, even though this breached this a little bit, it's pulling back. So kind of got this downward megaphone. If Snap's going to break out, it's going to break out up here and then bull to this level. So your target would be somewhere in this level. And then just pay attention to your quarter, half, and whole dollar levels, because you know, others might be as well. You don't want to be surprised if this, I mean, you can see just in terms of horizontal, look at the zone, the failure zone. It's failed up here before. So angular is the first hurdle, horizontal's next, and then you got your daily resistance and then fib resistance. So you got a good kind of plan on snap, crackle, pop. All right, let's see. Lone Wolf, I know Lone likes Snap, so good stuff, Lone. All right, so that's NBEV, Snap, and I'm looking at the patterns and the volume, pre-market, cool. Always reminds me of the cigarettes, but I don't think Cool would probably be offended because they're a therapeutics company, referring to them as a cigarette brand. But Cool, I believe, had news. Let me see my Benzinga. I could be wrong. No, Cool did not have news at all. So that's interesting. But they've had a ton of volume, so not sure what the rumor is here or just short covering. There's not, actually, there wasn't much short float on this one. Less than 1%. So you've got this kind of flag formation. The volume is hot. The 9 EMA 5-minute acting as support. And you've got above the 50% retracement level. You got 410. And then really this is showing this $5 range. Anything close to $5 is a potential topping range for this. So it's wide enough to definitely trade some, and has an interesting amount of relative volume, considering that it's doing twice its average daily volume. Oh, there was news. Why couldn't I see it on Benzinga? That's I don't see news on it unless I'm doing something wrong. Let's see. Cool stock news. I usually just go to like tune it to the past hour. Okay, so here it is. So shame on Benzinga. Receives health canon approval. All right, so there you go. I'm just going to post that in the chat. Let's see, market leader. So that could be what's driving that. That makes sense. And so we got a nice range on this. We got a nice consolidation triangle, kind of a short, stubby little flagpole situation. 9 EMA 5-minute. Volume is tapering off at support. That's good. We want to see the volume profile change, and maybe there's a good buy here. So above 410 looks like a good area to take some risk, depending on your entry. You'd prefer to buy on a breakout of this little triangle wedge here. in anticipation of this, maybe take profit here if it doesn't work, and then maybe re-enter. This might be one you kind of stick and move on a little bit. But if it turns into a grinder, you got that $5 zone. So cool is on the list. I've got it on my 8 chart setup. So I'm going to be watching all of this stuff happen. JAGX. What can I say about this one? JAGX. Jag to the X. So there's wicks up here. We don't like that. You don't like that all. It's back. Price action's back to all the 5-minute moving averages. They're all bundled up again. So that can be a good thing, could be a bad thing. It's got this support level here, support level here. So you're kind of in this like sloping descending triangle. It's kind of in this channel. There's kind of 2 channels here. Channel here, descending triangle here. And I mean, the hourly, you're starting to see potential here, but it respected that 100 SMA level. It's had a lot of trouble where this candle wick is. Right in here. You go back and look. This has been a containment level for price and an area that it dropped much lower. Started this kind of new downtrend. So, you know, the news I don't think is big enough to make it go to the moon today, but we could see some good price action on it. Maybe there's some other good forward things. With biotech, you need to do a lot of research before you trade them beyond, you know, holding them for a couple minutes to 15 seconds if you're trying to scalp a trade. I know it sounds crazy, but a lot of times I'll take 10, 15-second trades on these just because the level 2 and the volume's going nuts, and I see a scalping opportunity as long as the bid ask is tight. Yeah, Facebook. I guess we should do Facebook because look at the trend on Facebook. It's just been riding all the momentum moving averages on a 5-minute chart. It has moved up to I got a 75% fib up here, and it's sort of respecting that a little bit. It didn't go right up to it, but we've got kind of these are these perfect little volatility contraction type moves. This is actually a Gann fan I have up here, a major Gann fan as well, mixed in. You got this ascending. There could be a flat top breakout. Facebook's just having a great time from 172 to 194. Look for rangy. I mean, when I start seeing 1, 2, 3, day 4 of a run, this is where cup and handles like to form, head and shoulders, range type stuff. So don't get too overexcited about Facebook. There might be a spread opportunity. Also, this hourly Gann fan is up here. This acted as resistance before, and it could act as resistance again, and then we could get that pullback, and then we could get maybe an hourly consolidation triangle that takes a week. So don't get too caught up in the Facebook hype news after the move. It's kind of already happened to a large degree. That doesn't mean if you're an investor it's not a good opportunity. Hey Smog, nah, you're just the only one chatting right now. We got 14 people up in the room, 16 people. Or I'm also talking live to our day trade room. So if you guys are in here watching on YouTube, you're wondering who I might be talking to. I'm talking to people in the chat in our live day trading room. So you guys are welcome. We do have a 2-week trial. You guys can come in and join. I'm going to be streaming today. So we have different streamers and different channels at different times. So you get kind of a good mixture of perspectives on the markets. And we try to teach you guys what to look for, patterns, what to trade. We also have swing trade alerts now that we're doing for swing traders. Day trading, I think we got a really good solid thing. We've been working on making a better system for swing traders and keeping in mind our busy team schedule. And so now we've got our private Twitter, which works out really well. So go check out our stock alert page when you get a chance about that. check out that. TGT, Dan can talk and beat you at playing hoops without. I do love to play hoops. I am a big fan of basketball and soccer. I tried out for football in high school, and I got my ass kicked by all the linebacker dudes because I was like maybe like 145 pounds in high school. Now, I'd like to go back and do some tackling, and I wish I had the size that I have now in high school. I would have kept playing. But I was more of a basketball, soccer dude than motorcycles. So TIGR is in a nice rising wedge. There's potential for this to cup and handle, break out of the wedge. I don't really have much for big levels on that. We got 2 minutes before the bell. Oh, the daily breakout yesterday was nice. So Tigger's also on the watch list. Target's retail, it's close to its all-time highs. It pulled back to the 9. It did a nice little hammer here. So there's a chance for this thing to still kind of melt up and test the all-time high retracement level of 90.39. And there's also, look at these big super channels too. Don't forget about these. Sometimes it likes to go back and test these super channels, 4 or 5 times, 6 times before pulling back or breaking out of them. So Target has a good potential to be up there. If you look at the weekly though, I don't like buying off the 9 so much on daily, weekly charts when I'm thinking of swing trades, and when I'm thinking of macro short-term trades, I don't like buying off the 1 and 5. So that's essentially it, guys. I'm gonna stick with my 8-chart setup. I've also got Beyond Meat here. I didn't talk about Beyond. I didn't talk about futures, but futures are ripping out of the consolidation range today. So we've been consolidating for, let's see, for about how long? About a week or so since we tested this upper level. Now we're breaking out. So we could be heading back to all-time highs. Yay. All right, guys, I'm going to end the YouTube stream, and now I'm going to go cater to the rest of the members in the trade room. If you guys want to come in, I'm telling you, if you guys are on YouTube, come into bullishbears.com, sign up for the free trial. Just hang out with us in the trade room, and we will see you guys on the other side. Thanks.